Hello, everyone. I'm Becca, dietitian by trade, mom 24/7, wife from the start, and when there's a few extra hours in the day, you might find me hitting the trails or on horseback.
And I'm Kara, a therapist to women, a mom to a boy, an entrepreneur, mountain junkie, and a postpartum runner.
And this is Fit for a Queen, a podcast that's devoted to the female athlete wanting to balance the teeter-totter of all the things we desire out of life as women. Performance, health, intellect, and taking time for self, even if we only get 1 minute out of the day.
We're so excited to be bringing you the queens in the athletic world who have done just that. Okay, ladies, take a seat at your thrones, grab your crowns, and welcome to Fit for a Queen.
Well, welcome back, Queens. We have Beth Jessop here from Sports Mom, so we can't wait to interview her. So first off, Beth, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you decided to start this.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me on. Oh my goodness, I am so excited to be here and share with you guys and just be part of this. So I love what you guys are doing, and this is an amazing opportunity for me to talk to you guys. I'm so excited. So anyway, I'm so long-winded. But that's how excited I am. So my name is Beth Jessop, and I am the founder and CEO of Sports Moms United, which is a company and community that serves and supports sports moms to raise nutritionally fit, physically fit, and mentally fit athletes. Mm-hmm. And yeah, my background is really that I was an athlete. I played Division II basketball at Washburn University, and my husband played baseball at Washburn. And so we've been kind of lifelong athletes. And when we had kiddos, and that was, let's see, Avery is 11 and Bo is 9. Mm-hmm. So when we had kiddos and we realized, okay, now we're parents and we're going to have little athletes at some point, because we imagined that they would be like all parents do, right? Mm-hmm. Former athletes. We thought, okay, we're going to have these little athletes, and I really realized that as I was growing into being a parent and parenting these kids, that I really wanted to serve and support sports moms, because I really just have a heart for moms in general, but for sports moms too, because I had an amazing sports mom who was really just, she did it well. She really just did it well. And she passed away in 2004. And it was, then I realized, and even then, I don't think it was such a amped up, the youth sports culture wasn't as kind of amped up as it is right now. Yeah. And so it was just kind of a nod to what she did as a sports mom, and to all the moms that are doing that now, and even in a more intense, or can be, if you don't, if you don't kind of step away from it, it can be kind of an intense arena. And so I really wanted to provide a place for sports moms to come and get vetted resources to raise their athletes, and also just feel supported, where they can get support and can just feel like they have a community of other moms that understand where they're coming from, because they're doing all the things that you're doing as a mom, and then you add in sports, the crazy sports schedules and all the things with that. And that's just another, it can be any element. It could be music, or it could be, but with sports, it's just, there's that whole other area that we can raise our athletes through. Like, there's so many rich lessons in sports. And so I want moms to be able to come and brag about their kids and say, this is what's going on. I need help with this, or I need help with that, and support each other. So, yeah, so that's kind of how it came about. No, thank you.
When was it established?
It's been a year and a half. So it kind of morphed from, originally it was, I had gotten into nutrition and really wanted to feed my kids well, because I didn't do that very well. And when we waited 13 years before we had kids. So it was just my husband and I for a long time. And, you can kind of do what you want and get by. But then when I had kids, I'm like, okay, I have to keep these kids alive and healthy, right? So yeah, so it was kind of it came out of that desire to serve in that capacity, and kind of the nutritional capacity to help parents and especially moms, get a good meal and understand the nutrition behind it. So it was actually started as Your Fit Kid. It was a completely different,
Okay.
yeah, a completely different, and then it just sort of morphed into um, serving the moms in all these areas, because
Yeah.
we have, as moms, we have to feed them, we have to make sure that they're well, and then we have to make sure that they're, that they can have a positive attitude and serve well in life. And so the sports is kind of that backdrop that we get to do that in.
I'm just thinking, like you said, it is such a different world now when kind of all of us grew up in sports, and what a great resource for moms now that the sport world has gotten a little crazier.
Yeah, I feel like we really need, I feel like we really need each other, because you could get really caught up in and feel very isolated if you're kind of just looking at it and trying to keep up with the Joneses, keep up with, oh, I need to be doing this and I need to be doing that. And really, we need each other to say, you know what, I don't feel comfortable like with that aspect of it. Is that something I really need to do, and just get back to the fun of the sport and the joy in the sport. That's what I loved about it. That's why I played. That's why, that's why kids play. And when we take the fun out of it, because of what we want and our perception of it as adults, I think we're doing them a disservice. So I think we need to come together and support each other in those decisions.
So how did your own personal journey lead you to be the advocate that you are now for moms?
Yeah. I, I think where it really came from was there's a whole mental journey that I've been on, and that sports has been a part of. And for a long time I didn't want to tell that story, because as an athlete, I think we're conditioned to be tough, right? We're conditioned to you can do this, you can handle this, and so I didn't want to reach out. And I'm being very candid here. I didn't want to reach out for help and ask for help, because I felt like, you're tough, you can overcome this. And it was, for me, it manifested itself as an eating disorder after college. And it was I think what happens with a lot of athletes is there's this transition, obviously, from playing into life. And if you have your whole identity wrapped up in your sport, and this happens at every level, you hear professional people talk about it, but it happens as, even when you're just playing, when you've just identified yourself as an athlete all your life, it can happen if that's how you identify yourself. And so,
absolutely,
yeah, I kind of lost my identity when I moved on from not playing anymore. And so, and it was just, there's a lot of other things that were happening, and it was kind of a perfect storm, if you will. But what ended up happening was that I took that same grit and determination that I had as an athlete, and I went after eating disorder with that same with that same grit and determination. And and it almost killed me. And so I feel like, and I hid it, and I isolated myself, and I struggled with it for a long time. And then I realized that's not what we were meant to do. We're meant to be in community and connection, and to share and tell our stories so that we can help somebody else, out of that place too. And so that's really, it's not always comfortable, and it's not always easy. And I think this is probably the first time I've actually told this story without, I've written about it, but I haven't really told it. So it's not easy, but I think it's, we all have things, we're all walking around with things that we're dealing with. And if we can't kind of create a language to talk about it, if we keep isolating ourselves, we are, that's not what we were meant for. So.
Right.
We appreciate you telling your story. It is hard to talk about, and I think especially for athletes, You're right. That persona of being tough and dealing with it ourselves and sucking it up is part of that personality traits that make us successful in sport too, but have a difficult time for reaching out and asking for help.
And Beth, I love how you're not only trying to help the athletes, but help the parents. And I've stepped into a different area now as being the coach on my daughter's team.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a tournament in March, and the behavior from the adults was horrendous. And that was something I had never seen on a personal level. And having these little girls turn around with their eyes this big as a player's crying on the court and the coaches and parents are yelling. And I just had to say, shut the door and step away. You know, what can the Sports Moms United be able to change or create with the support system? So as a mom now, I know how to act, or I know how to support these little athletes.
Yeah, yes. And that breaks my heart to hear that, because, it used to be, I feel like it used to be maybe the exception, and it's happening more and more. And how can we expect our athletes to understand how to handle, situations on the court and then on into life if what they're seeing is that kind of representation from us? And collectively, I think, especially like in our Sports Moms United Facebook community, I feel like there is just this pure, positive, powerful, productive energy in that group. And I think the more we talk about that and showing up, like, it's our responsibility to show up with that energy. It's our responsibility as parents, because that is going to, trickle down to them. They feel that energy, especially like okay, so you come home from a game and you're in the car, and what do you do? What does that scene look like? Does it look like I'm talking to them about everything they did wrong? Does it, you know, just telling them, I love watching you play. I loved that you did such and such and such. I love the way that you picked up your teammate or the opponent when they, tripped and fell. I just pointing out those things of importance that are not related at all to their skills, but are related to what they're going to take on in later in life.
Right.
Is so important. We've lost that focus. My guess is probably those parents that were reacting that way were reacting to some situation that happened, a bad call, a this, a that, a one particular thing, instead of the big picture of what are they learning? What skills are they taking? We need to, as parents, step back and focus ourselves on what energy are we bringing to this, and how is that affecting our athletes? Because I think really, we can talk about a lot of things that we can, you can do A, B, C, and D, but until we get a little bit deeper and look at where we're coming from, our behavior is not going to change.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't imagine, just thinking of that scene in the car after a sport competition. Those little athletes are already focused on the negative of what I did wrong, not what I did well. And even if, they lost or whatever, I love that aspect of thinking about it like the whole picture versus those individual skills, because, yeah, that's kind of what they're already doing.
Right. They have enough voices in their head of what I didn't do or what skill I haven't yet, mastered. Let's focus on the bigger picture of what skills outside of just the actual physical skills have they mastered? What can we focus on in that area? Because they've got coaches, they've got, to focus on those things. They don't need another coach in the stands telling them, they know.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you think creating this community has helped you personally with being a busy sports mom?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a great question, because I feel like I gain so much from from the other moms in the community who have, because we've got moms, who are just starting out, kind of rookie sports moms. We've got moms, veteran sports moms who have been in there. We've got sports memes in there that are now watching their, their grandkids.
Yeah.
So we really have a full range of people, of moms who have had amazing experiences and can share from so many different perspectives. We've got, moms that are coaches, so they have that perspective too. So we have such a rich group of experiences in there that for me, um, I feel like it gives me a bigger toolbox too to share, because it's a lot of it is sports moms bringing their experiences and their expertise from what they've been through to the group and then sharing it. So, and then I've been able to connect like with you guys and with so many amazing people who want to help raise amazing adults through sports and who have been so willing to say, yes, I'll jump on the podcast, I'll write a blog post, I will, I will share what I know so that moms can be equipped and can feel supported and united. And so that has been for me just an incredible, I mean, like I pinch myself. I'm like, really? This is amazing,
Sounds like you're having so much fun too with it.
I am. Yeah, I am. It's been, yeah, and quite candidly, kind of as we talked earlier, my story there. I mean, there was a time when I, I didn't have a reason to really get up out of bed. I mean, it was to that point. And
Mm-hmm.
this community and this, and serving these sports moms, it has been that reason to get up and to keep going and just to hear when they get in the group and they brag about their, mom brags are encouraged in the group. Like, I'm like, you
Good.
better shout it from the rooftops about your kids because we need a place to do that. And when I get in there and I see that and I'm like, oh, I'm so encouraged. And it's not always just, it's not always what they're doing, what they're achieving, but what they're becoming as humans, and that is what's exciting.
Yeah. Watching these
Oh,
little people grow
we're
up.
sure glad you're out in the community.
Yeah.
I love following you and seeing especially you have some pretty funny ones that are on there that we can all relate to as
Well,
moms.
yes, and that's the other thing too is that like we can't take it so seriously.
Right.
Life
Absolutely.
is too short to take this so seriously. When your kids, playing 8U, they're not in the World Series. So let's not so let's not, stress ourselves out to the point where, so we need a community where we can laugh with each other too. So I think that's part of my self-care is laughter.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Well, Beth, that kind of leads us to the last question that we ask all of our interviewees: how they live out the FIT philosophy of balance, performance, health, intellect, and time for self. So how do you find that balance with all the things that you're doing?
Yeah, this is so timely for me too because I'm actually writing a self-care series, so a sports mom
Nice.
self-care blog series, a 10-part series, and it actually just came out of necessity because I wasn't balancing all those things well, and I was sacrificing a lot of the me time and what just like what moms tend to do, right? We take care of everybody else and then we wake up and we go, how did I get here? I haven't had a vegetable in 4 months. I haven't been outside to exercise.
Did I
and you're
shower?
yeah, exactly. I'm wearing the same sweats I wore on Monday. It's Thursday. What's going on? So, and it just is kind of that slippery slope, right? It's not something that we just keep doing. We're go, and especially as sports moms because we've got the logistics of all these schedules. And so it was kind of out of necessity that I was like, okay, I got to take a step back. I got to be intentional about this and just do some of the little things. Like, I think that's, I'm getting back into just doing the little things that, and kind of baby stepping it out. I can't dive all the way back in, it's because it can feel overwhelming when you haven't taken care of yourself for a while. It's like, okay, I don't even remember what that kind of feels like. So I'm just doing some of the baby steps. I've always done affirmations every day, and that's always been something that, and prayer and meditation time. So that's always been something that's been consistent. But like exercising and even eating well, I'm trying to get back to doing some of those things too. So it's actually this group that's kind of made me realize that I wasn't taking care of myself like I should, and so it's that question's very timely, actually.
Well, good.
Because I'm trying to really be more intentional and just start out with some of the easy, simple things that I can do, and then kind of ease myself back into really. Because if you try to do it all at once, it's like anything else, like if you try to clean out all your cabinets because you're never going to eat sugar again, that's not going to work. It's not sustainable. So just taking those little steps.
Well, it sounds like that community is supporting and keeping you accountable too. That's good.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Beth, thanks so much for being on and being a resource to the busy moms out there. We so appreciate it. And if you want to find out more, go to sportsmomsunited.com. Thanks so much, Beth.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Bye, Beth. See you on Facebook.
All right. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you to our sponsor today, Sentimano Counseling. Sentimano Counseling is the premier perinatal mental health practice in Kansas City, treating mood disorders during pregnancy and postpartum, perinatal loss, infertility, eating, and exercise disorders. Go to sentimano.com for further information about the practice and services. For additional information on today's topic and guests, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Fit for a Queen.
And hashtag Fit for a Queen.
Don't forget to rate us on iTunes. We can't wait for you to join us next time on Fit for a Queen.
Bye, Queens.